This is Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia. Here is Community Information Kevin Captain.
And good morning. Welcome to Volusia Today. I'm Gary Davidson, filling in for Kevin Captain, who's off taking a well-deserved break. I'm joined today by my co-host, Heather Belden, and thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Volusia Today is made possible by our sponsors, Daytona Beach International Airport, the Ocean Center, Volusia Recycles, and Votran Public Transportation. Good morning, Heather. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited that we have a long weekend on the horizon.
Absolutely. In fact, with the big holiday weekend upon us, that can only mean one thing. Hot dogs, right?
The only thing, Gary. Yes.
Absolutely. Do you have any idea how many hot dogs Americans eat on the 4th of July, Heather?
We should probably be embarrassed, I would say, as a country for the amount that we are going to eat.
It is a large and embarrassing number. You're right. So according to the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, and that's right, you heard that right. That's really a thing. There really is a National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, and they advise that Americans will consume 150 million hot dogs on the 4th of July. So I don't know about you, Heather, but I'm good for at least 2 or 3.
Oh, at least.
In fact, I think the best way to start off the holiday weekend and our hot dog consumption is right here, right now, live on the radio. So I brought some hot dogs. I have to know that you like ketchup on your hot dog.
I love ketchup. And
so there's yours. Where I come from, putting ketchup on a hot dog is sacrilegious, but I won't hold that against you.
Oh, thank you.
Andy, I took a guess and made one with mustard for you. And I'm a mustard guy also, so everybody unwrap their hot dogs.
We cheersing?
Absolutely, we're cheersing and take a bite of the hot dog.
Oh, this is fantastic.
All right, enjoy.
All right, happy Independence Day.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo.
Cheers.
I think Joey Chestnut's responsible for about half of those hot dogs.
All right.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, in addition to hot dogs, for many people, the 4th of July is also a big beach weekend. And that means our guest this morning is one of the busiest people in Volusia County. So joining us today in studio is the Director of Volusia County Beach Safety and fellow hot dog lover, Andrew Ethridge. Good morning, Andy, and welcome back to the show.
Good morning. I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Sure thing. Let me know if you need a couple seconds to finish chewing before we start the interview, because we got a lot to talk about. So let's get right into it. You're getting ready for the long 4th of July holiday weekend. And for the rest of us, that means, outdoor fun, family get-togethers, a dip in the pool, throwing some burgers and some dogs on the grill. But you and the rest of the staff at Beach Safety, you're getting ready for one of the busiest weekends of the year at the beach. How many people normally come to the beach on a holiday weekend like the 4th?
Well, yeah, that's correct. While everybody else is enjoying their time off with their families and enjoying barbecues and hot dogs, my staff will be busy making sure everybody's safe that day. So they'll be out there in force doing what they do. July 4th is arguably our busiest weekend and our busiest individual day of the year. So we're probably going to see hundreds of thousands of people on that beach during that time period.
Wow. So, how do you and your team prepare for the larger crowds?
Well, we prepare for this all year long. It's like you don't get ready for the Super Bowl the day before the Super Bowl.
Right.
You run your plays, your playbook, and you don't. You try not to add anything new. Right up against the holidays. So what we do on the holidays is just elevated because of the crowds and the sheer number and volume of things that we have to do. But we run this playbook all year long, so we're good at what we do.
So it's all about advanced preparation.
Absolutely.
So I know your overall message is we want people to come out, we want them to have a good time, we want them to be safe, like you had mentioned. What are some easy safety tips for people to remember?
Well, one thing is you got to remember, this is a big holiday, so it's going to be crowded down there. So bring your patients with you. We ask that when you come onto the beach, it's a very controlled environment. So, we want you to drive slowly, drive safely, park carefully. When you get out of your car, get away from your car. Just go to the other side of the traffic lane, set up your stuff for the day. We'll have some early high tides Saturday and Sunday. Monday will be a little bit later, it'll be around noon. But once the tide clears out, we're going to have plenty of room on the beach all day long. So bring your patients. It's going to be crowded, and there's only so much room we have down there.
That's great information. And of course, number one beach safety tip is always swim in front of a staffed lifeguard tower. And that may seem obvious, but I think we all need a reminder now and then. So why is that so important, even for the strongest of swimmers?
Well, that is the number one thing you can do to protect yourself in the ocean is swim in front of that staffed lifeguard tower. You know, the USLA, the United States Life Saving Association, has calculated that your odds of drowning in front of a USLA certified ocean rescue lifeguard is about 1 in 18 million. So your best chance for survival if you get into trouble is being in front of that certified lifeguard.
Those are some pretty good odds.
Those are pretty good odds.
And of course, your lifeguards, if there's an issue, if there's a problem, if there's a rip, for instance, they're going to notice it before the swimmer does.
And, well, that's why those odds are so good, because our training, our certification, and the requirements we go through really ensures that those guards that are up there are going to be ahead of the curve. They're going to know you're in trouble sometimes before you do.
That's incredible. So on the same subject of safety, we can't talk about the 4th of July without fireworks. And they go together like hot dogs and ketchup, I would say, Gary.
Again, I'm a mustard guy.
We have a lot of community fireworks displays going around the county for people to enjoy. One in Daytona Beach, right at the band shell. But the beach isn't exactly a place for fireworks for the visitors. They're actually not allowed. So the best advice, is leave it to the professionals, again, because of safety, correct?
That's correct. Not only is safety, there is a state law that allows fireworks in some communities that don't have ordinance against it. So on the 4th of July, they are legal in some cities, in some areas. You need to really find out where that is. The beach is not one of those places. Our county ordinance is written not only for the safety aspect, but for the environmental impacts that it has. July 5th is one of the largest litter cleanup hauls that we'll have, where there will be traditionally tons of litter left on the beach. And the majority of it is firework litter from overnight. So leave the fireworks at home. Come and enjoy the show from the professional. It'll be a beautiful night. So come out there with your families, have a good time, but leave the fireworks at home. And
there's going to be a fireworks show, in fact, at the band shell, right?
Correct, right off of the pier.
Yeah, and back to the safety issue for a second. It's not just for the safety of people. It's also for the safety of our marine life. Is that right?
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest reasons that we have that ordinance, is because of the impact on the wildlife and the environment in general.
So before we go to our first break, Andy, we really should spend a few minutes talking about traffic on the beach, because our beaches, they're like one long linear park. But on long stretches of the beach, there also are vehicles. And it makes for easy and convenient access to the beach, and it's one of the things that makes our beach experience here in Volusia County so unique. But once again, you always have to put safety first. And so what's your safety message both to drivers and to sunbathers? What are some do's and don'ts?
Well, like I said, the biggest thing is it is a very controlled environment. We want everyone to go slowly. We want you to have the access, get you down there, get all your stuff down there. The beach is one of the longest tailgate parties you'll see anywhere. So go slow, windows down, lights on, no texting. Be responsible and understand that the kids that are playing down there, they're not looking for vehicles. They're running back and forth. It happens to me every single day. So slow down, get to where you're going, safely park, and again, just move away from the car, set all your stuff up on the other side of the traffic lane. Don't lay between vehicles, by any means. That's right. a hazard for you. Sometimes people aren't looking when they're parking. So get away from the vehicles, get down to the water, and enjoy the day.
Great advice for a safe day on the beach. So with that, we're going to take a brief pause. When we return, we'll have more about Volusia County beaches, the upcoming holiday weekend, and lots of other stuff. So don't go away. Volusia Today will be right back.
We are Volusia County Beach Safety.
We're here to serve Volusia County's 47 miles of unique coastline. Volusia County beaches. Yeah, those beaches. But also these beaches. We have millions of visitors every year, and we work around the clock to keep our beaches safe and beautiful.
And you can help.
Swim near a staffed lifeguard tower.
Pick up your trash. And fill holes. Identify, avoid, and escape rip currents.
Please leave the beach cleaner than you found it.
There we go. Look out for one another and keep an eye on kids, especially near the traffic lane and in the water.
Pets are allowed at our 2 pet-friendly beaches, Lighthouse Point Park and Smyrna Dunes Park.
If you see something, say something.
A clean and safe beach guarantees fun in the sun for everyone. Thank you for doing your part to keep Volusia County beaches beautiful.
See you at the beach!
And we're back. I'm Heather Belden along with Gary Davidson, and you're listening to Volusia Today, a public information program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Thanks, Heather. And we're talking to Beach Safety Director Andy Ethridge. And so, Andy, we hear a lot about rip currents. And for those who don't know, what is a rip current? How does it form? And most importantly, if you're caught in one, what should you do?
So basically a rip current is a channel that is carved into the sandbar. As the waves break over the sandbar and they roll up the beach, gravity is going to naturally bring that water back down into the ocean. Water follows the path of least resistance, so it's going to go through those deeper channels where there's not as much friction over that sandbar. Unfortunately, anybody that's in that area is going to get pulled with it because water is it's a very strong force. So a lot of times you can't see those rip currents until it's too late, until you're in them. Our lifeguards are at an elevated position so they can see them, so we'll watch them develop. If you find yourself in a rip current, the best thing for you to do is not to panic. You just want to relax, swim parallel to shore, one way or the other. If you're in front of one of the lifeguards, if you're able to, you can wave and you can signal for help, and they should be there pretty quickly to help you out. But the biggest thing is don't panic. Swim parallel to shore until you stop feeling the pull, and then swim back into shore safely.
So when you swing parallel to the shore to get out of the rip current, normally about how long would that take to get out of the rip current?
It depends on your swimming ability, but most rip currents aren't that wide. I've seen some pretty monster rip currents that were extremely impressive to see. But for the most part, 10, 12 yards wide. So either way, you're going to be able to swim out of it in pretty short order, hopefully.
Fairly short distance. Okay, very good. Thank you.
So that brings to mind the fact that we have been seeing an incredible number of rescues lately. If you've been watching the news, you're seeing that it's more than hundreds each day on a busy weekend. So we do have a lot of people getting into trouble, but our lifeguards are doing an amazing job. When you see these numbers, these 200 or more rescues in a single weekend, what does that mean to you? We know these lifeguards are highly trained professionals and they literally have so many lives in their hands. It's such an incredible responsibility.
Well, I think you'd be surprised to hear that, or maybe not, that to date we've rescued over 1,600 victims from drowning in the ocean this year. So wow. My staff has really stepped up their game. They've met this challenge. I haven't seen the water like this in many, many years. So we're putting out the call for all of our guards that are on staff to try and get them in here. Some of our highest overtime hours earners were our part-time guards because they're just showing up and they're doing the job. And then on top of that, my full-time staff, on top of all the other things they have going on, they're filling those gaps. So it'll be nothing to see one of my officers stripping down his gear, locking it in the truck, and hitting that water, and being the first one on a rescue, not just the response backup that they normally are. But they're making these rescues, and like I said, over 1,600 this year alone and counting. We're only a few weeks after Memorial Day. So if it keeps up like this, we could have a record year.
Wow. So how are those rescue numbers compared to years past?
We average about 2,000 a year. So this early into summer, that's a pretty high number. Our overall record that we've had recorded was 5,600 rescues. That was an extraordinary year. I don't know if we'll reach that, but things are incredibly impressive to see my staff work so hard.
Well, terrific. So we've also been seeing a lot in the news about lifeguard shortages, not just here, but all across the country. So what's the situation here, and how are our lifeguards managing?
Well, it is, and it's not just lifeguards. I hear from a lot of different industries that are struggling to get people to work. But we are similar to other agencies. We're seeing about half of what we would like to see. Other ocean rescue agencies, pool lifeguards, same thing. I've heard some pools around the nation that are landlocked are having to close their pools because they just can't get lifeguards. So
we can't close our oceans.
We can't close the oceans. They're open and accessible 24 hours a day. So we just have to be able to meet the demand. For us, failure is not an option. So my staff, again, is really putting out that effort. My part-time lifeguards, my full-time senior ocean lifeguards, and my officers, they're just meeting the demand, and there doesn't seem to be any quit in them.
That's terrific. I'm sure that all goes back to the training.
Absolutely, and their dedication to the job. It's lifeguarding is not just a job; it's more of a lifestyle, and they really have bought into it, and they really love their jobs.
That's terrific.
That's awesome. So as we talk about more matters of life and death, trash on the beach, it's a big problem. And you had mentioned earlier, July 5th is a big cleanup day because of all the traffic we have on the weekend. It's harmful to the environment. I know we talked about the firework trash, but what about other trash that is impacting? And what can we do as public to help our beaches stay clean?
So we're fortunate with Jessica Winter, or Fentress now, Jessica Fentress over the Coastal Division. They do an incredible job cleaning that beach up, and a lot of times those functions are in the background. People don't even notice it. We've got thousands of trash cans all up and down the beach, and their staff and their contractors get out there and they empty those cans and they're picking up trash. And sometimes when all of the cars leave, again, like I said, it's one of the biggest tailgate parties you'll ever see. It's almost like any sporting event you see. The field is and the stands are littered with trash. Somebody gets in there and cleans it up. They do the same thing. Their contractors are incredible, and they're on top of it. What I can ask is that whatever you bring with you, take home with you. Use those trash receptacles. Just because people are out there picking up that stuff doesn't make it okay just to drop things on the beach. A lot of things will get into the water before we can pick them up. So just do your part. Pick up your trash, at least your own trash, and take it with you. We're going to be trying to provide some trash bags and things like that, but we can't get to everybody. So bring what you need and take it home with you at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a great message. Everybody needs to do their part.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to take our last break, but please stick around for more of Volusia Today.
Volusia County is our home. If we don't respect it, who will? Litter is a problem, one that we can solve. But it's going to take all of us working together. Did you know that Volusia County has several programs and events that can help keep our coastal environment clean and litter-free? You can become a jetty ambassador, participate in a waterway or coastal cleanup, utilize a fill-a-bag station, organize a beach cleanup, or adopt a beach. I walk the beaches every day. I see the pollution that's around, and I want to make it better, and each and every one of us have a part in this. We have receptacles everywhere in Volusia County. Make sure you use them. That's why they're here. The problem is serious, and one we have created. Well, you don't have to go far from the beach to see the effects of it. You can come right here to our Marine Science Center and see our turtles and our birds and the effects that it takes on them. Many of them were suffering from being caught or entangled in fishing line and gear left in the environment, or ingesting litter and trash such as plastic bags and balloons. This can lead to severe injury or even death. What matters is that we all do our part to fix it. Don't be a litter bug, and pick up litter when you see it. Every litter bit counts. It is up to all of us to teach all of them to what? Keep Volusia litter free. Keep Volusia beautiful.
You can access Volusia County government online at volusia.org. Listen to county council meetings, pay for permits or tags, or search the property appraisers' databases. Volusia.org is your Volusia County government information resource.
And we're back. I'm Heather Belden along with Gary Davidson, and you're listening to Volusia Today, a public information program brought to you by the County of Volusia. So we kind of ended our last conversation there about trash, but let's talk a little about recycling. And we know that plastic bags, the six-pack rings, and straws are really some of the biggest harmful things that are our wildlife are coming into with all the trash. Can you tell us a little about how the beaches have recycling options?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, this year, the Coastal Department is switching the color scheme with their trash cans. So traditionally, everybody thinks the blue cans mean recycling. Well, for whatever reason, when we did our original design with our contractors, the yellow can was designated as recycling, and it had a green lid, and it was marked and everything. But over time, the markings wear off, and people kind of started associating the blue cans with recycling. So they're switching that. So blue cans will be recycling as they transition into that. But it is important. These plastic items get into the ocean. They don't break down. The wildlife interacts with them. Plastic bags look like jellyfish in the water. Jellyfish are the turtles' main source of food. So our environmental department works very hard to get that message out there. Plastic bags, straws, the rings, those things are detrimental to the wildlife. So anything we can do to keep that stuff off of the sand and out of the water is just going to help us in our environmental efforts. So we work very well with the environmental department as well. So we just need to all do our part and make sure those things get in those receptacles.
Terrific. So we're going to switch gears a little bit because I heard you all have a big competition coming up on July 13th. It's going to be live streamed on the County of Volusia YouTube channel. So can you tell us about that, Andy?
We're very excited about this. Every year for many, many years, we've had what's called our interzone competition, and that is where all of our 4 districts will put together a team of competitors, and they will go out and compete for bragging rights, basically, for the interzone trophy. It's only our agency that is involved. We go out and we compete on the national stage and on the world stage, and we go out and we have incredibly gifted athletes that we represent Volusia County very well. But this one's just us. So our teams will get together, and there's a few events that they run through: swimming event, paddling event, 4x4 run relay, the medley, which is a conglomeration of all the different aspects of lifeguarding. Right. And then beach flags, which is a very exciting event. But last year we tried it, we live streamed it. We kept it kind of quiet because we didn't know what to expect. This year we know what to expect, and we're going to do a big event on the 13th where we're live streaming this competition, and it should be very entertaining to watch.
Now, does the public come out and cheer you on?
Absolutely. The beach is filled with people, family and friends from all the lifeguards. The public comes out and watches. And last year we actually, even with our very limited exposure to the live stream, we had people in Australia watching this event. So we expect to have a lot more advertising with the USLA for this event. And we had drone footage, we had cameras on the sand, we have commentators. It's going to be a really, really impressive event. And that really gives the public a good opportunity to see the tremendous athleticism that some of their lifeguards have, and it's going to be good for them.
The athleticism, which of course is required to do their job.
Not only is it required, it is absolutely vital that you're able to, when you're in a rip current that a human being on their own is having a hard time swimming out of, when you're responsible for bringing them and their family and their friends on your buoy out of that rip current, you got to be able to swim.
Sure.
So the competitors for Interzone and also the events that they're competing in is top secret information and isn't revealed until the day of the event. Why is that?
Well, it is kind of funny to watch and I was involved with it as well when I was at that level. Everyone wants to keep their cards close to the vest. They want to, because there is some strategy involved. The different events are scored, so you want to try and make sure that your competitors are placed in a way that gives you the highest scoring possibility. So if people know what your team looks like, if they know who's competing for you, and there's a lot of predicting going on, a lot of assumptions, and people will try and vie certain people against each other to just give them a little bit of an edge. And it's impressive to sit back and watch. It was stressful to be, in that, in that arena when I was doing it. It's a lot of fun to sit back and watch these team captains go at it and strategize against each other.
Wow, they really take it seriously.
They do.
How did you do in your competition days?
Well, I was always kind of the one that stayed back and covered the beach. I didn't. That's one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't get too involved with the competition team. I can hold my own though when they shame me into filling in an opening or something. So there is a bit of an element of surprise when I come out there and do my thing, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, I actually caught some of the footage from last year. I was kind of doing a little bit of research about it, and it was really neat to see the camaraderie amongst the different zones. And just when they were doing the race where they are all racing for the batons or the things in the sand, and they were just, they would get beat by, New Smyrna would get beat by Ormond,
right.
and then they would end up just kind of high-fiving each other. It was awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of camaraderie. That's what I mean by it's interzone. So it's their own team. So they're competing against each other, but they're like a family. So they're supportive of each other. They are happy for each other when they win, and it really is. They're friends. They're coworkers. They're like family, and it's a lifestyle for them. So they're very supportive of each other.
That's terrific. So, Andy, as we get ready to close the show, we've just got another couple minutes. Let's remind our listeners that we have really handy, convenient resources where people can get real-time information about everything from beach conditions, ramp openings, enclosures, lifeguard stations, weather, tides. So what's the best way for people to find information about Volusia County beaches?
Well, one of the best ways is our Volusia Beaches mobile app. So that is free on the Google Play Store and on the Apple Store. Download that app. It'll give you turn-by-turn directions to a lifeguard tower. It'll give you turn-by-turn directions to our parks and off-beach parking. It'll give you our up-to-date, real-time status on our ramps. It'll give you a lot of information about the beach. It'll give you the beach conditions, tides, all of that good stuff. And one of the most popular aspects of it is our live cameras. So they're tricky to keep going a lot of times, but we're doing our best to improve those cameras, get more of them out there so you can actually get a live view of your favorite part of the beach anytime you open that mobile app.
And that app, that's real-time information that's updated in real time, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And again, you can get information on staffed lifeguard tower locations. Of course, you can get that information the old-fashioned way and just walk or drive down the beach and look up at the tower and see if somebody's on it, right?
Yeah, that's the analog version, right? That's old school. Go down there and look at it.
Terrific. So Andy, you're a busy guy. What do you do on your off time?
Well, lately it's been a lot of bowling. My son's gotten into bowling, and I accidentally ended up on a bowling league, so I've never done that before. But it's a lot of fun. I'm getting to spend a lot of time with him, and it's getting him off those video games. So it's all good. And anytime I get to watch my daughter play volleyball is also a bonus. And the wife and I like to ride our bikes.
Terrific.
So we stay busy.
Very good. So that's all the time we have today. I want to thank our guest, Andy Ethridge. And, of course, thank all of our listeners for tuning in to Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia. And I'm Gary Davidson.
And I am Heather Belden.
And everyone have a great today. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and have a happy and safe 4th of July.
If you have a comment about Volusia Today, or if there is a topic you would like to hear featured, please contact Volusia County Community Information at 1-866-345-0345.